There are three problems that we find our students often encounter during the in-person class. The first is that there are certain configurations of angle, ranges, and chisel thickness that can sometimes cause this bottom clamp to hit against this wheel. This wheel is intended to roll. It is made of a soft metal, it's some sort of a brass alloy. If this clamping block prevents this wheel from spinning, when you put it on your stone and start moving back and forth, obviously you're going to grind a flat spot onto the wheel. That does ruin the wheel. They make replacements, but it's worth just preventing that from happening so you don't have to go through the hassle. So before you even put the honing guide setup onto your abrasive system, you want to make sure that this wheel rolls smoothly. Veritas does in fact recommend that you put a drop of 3-in-1 oil on this axle. You want to do that very sparingly. If you're using a Japanese whetstone or this dry sandpaper, it's very frustrating when the oil drips out of that axle and onto your abrasive system. The other problem is that sometimes these screws don't get tightened enough. So you might spend 35 to 45 minutes sharpening, things are going very well, and then you realize that all of a sudden the chisel has moved slightly in the honing guide and you're basically back to ground zero. So you want to make sure that these are nice and tight. The third thing that sometimes happens that can wreak havoc with the sharpening process is an incorrect hold on the honing guide that leads to lifting the handle on the back of the chisel. It's very important as you're sharpening that the bevel edge of the chisel stays flat on your abrasive surface. I like to hold the chisel and honing guide like this. My two middle fingers are on the back side of the chisel, my index fingers are on the front of the honing guide, and my thumbs are on each side on the back of the honing guide. You want to concentrate your pressure down onto the abrasive system, and you really want to avoid doing this, where you're lifting the rear end of the chisel handle up. Doing that means that only the toe of the chisel is hitting the stone, and if you lift the chisel just a little bit and ride back and forth on your abrasive system 2 or 3 times, because you're only hitting the toe of the chisel, you've just added 20 to 25 minutes to the sharpening process because you now need to remove a lot more steel on the bevel edge so that the surface is flat again.
Hey there, thank you for watching. Here at Shelter Institute in Woolwich, Maine, we teach a wide variety of house building and timber framing and carving classes. We'd love to see you here, but if you can't make it to Maine to take one of our classes, our online class is available at shelterinstitute.com.